What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here, and we're backing out with an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Wi-Fi battle, and this one's going to be a PU Wi-Fi battle against PK Hex Jenner.
Is this where we are as a community?
Now today, I'm using a pretty cool PU team using the Perugly Han Edge, which is pretty cool. You don't really see Han Edge used in lower tiers. Also using Savali Fairy to switch in a knockoff, because I am pretty prone to knockoff because I have a lot of Violet users on this team. Clado doesn't appreciate knockoff, and I'm also using Poipole because I wanted to give Poipole another shot because it's been a few months since I've used Poipole, and my opponent's team is pretty threatening but also pretty cool. You see like Floatzel, Meowstic, Drampa, and pretty cool Pokemon like that. Jinx is giving me a little bit of PTSD from my recent battle I posted, but hopefully my opponent knows what Sleep Clause is. So let's just hop right into this battle against PK Hex Jenner. So my opponent's going to lead off with the Hasselhoff and the Beast Ball, as I'm going to lead off with my Nerfer Pito, my Perugly. Nice Hunter reference. So I'm just going to go straight for Fake Out on turn 1 because I want to do as much damage as I can to this Floatzel, because Floatzel is looking like a big issue to my team, despite the fact I have a Fairy Seed. It could have like Focus Blast or something, so it's pretty scary. Regardless, I mean, I'm just still going to pull a Heart Switch directly into my Fairy Seed, because Fairy Seed should be able to stomach whatever Floatzel wants to go for. My opponent predicts me to switch out, reveals to have the Switcheroo, and my opponent's going to give me a Flame Orb, so he's able to take away my Violet and make my Fairy Seed burn. So switcherooing on that turn was very, very smart on his part. And now my opponent's going to make another really good play and bring in the Snow Job. In comes the Jinx. I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks here. No reason not to. Stealth Rocks. May as well get them up while I can. I figured I may as well run entry hazards on this team because Poipole needs any help it can get when it comes to getting kills. So in comes the Jinx. And my opponent has Copycat. And I'm just like, oh. So my opponent's able to go for the Copycat and go for Stealth Rocks. And I'm just like, oh, I'm kind of confused why my opponent has Copycat on his Jinx. And I'm just like, who runs Copycat on Jinx? That's so weird. But now I'm going to go for Gyro Ball, and I'm going to do very little. I'm like, this is weird. Like, why did the Jinx take so little from Gyro Ball? Like, granted, I am burned, but still, it's a Jinx. And here I outspeed the Jinx, so I'm like, what? And I'm able to get my max roll and knock out the Jinx. So I have no idea what the Jinx was about to do. So at this point, I felt a little suspicious. I'm like, why did my opponent have Copycat and a negative priority move on his Jinx? I'm trying to think of what move it could possibly be, but it's not really coming to mind. But in comes the Floatzel. My opponent makes a really good prediction, predicting me to go for a Hazard Release. So he goes for the Unprotected Focus Punch. So just like how I went for the Unprotected Focus Punch in my previous battle, I'm going to get a taste of my own medicine. I'm going to get hit by a Focus Punch. It's kind of cool to see Floatzel running Focus Punch. I didn't really think twice about that. I'm just like, oh, that Floatzel has Focus Punch for some odd reason. But there is a reason why my opponent has these really weird moves on this Pokemon, as you'll see later on. So at this point, I'm still like not really suspicious. I'm like, okay, he just has Focus Punch on his Floatzel because he's a man. I can respect that. Forces switches with the Switcheroo, I can understand. So here I go for Sword Stance with my Han Edge, and I notice I'm faster than the Floatzel, and that's because my opponent goes for Roar. I'm like, what is this Floatzel set? And then I started to realize something. I'm like, Roar, why does he have Roar? Why does he have Switcheroo? I feel like I've seen this before. But I just kept playing. Here my opponent goes for Focus Punch yet again, just sacking off the Floatzel. I'm going to go straight for Fake Out, and we're able to knock out the Floatzel, thankfully. So I don't have to worry about that thing Focus Punching anymore, and my Perugly's still looking pretty healthy. So now my opponent's going to bring in the Eclipse here, the Murkrow, and I'm like, oh, Murkrow's pretty cool to see.
Let's go!
Yeah, I know this thing does get Z Mirror Move, and it is a common move that Murkrow do carry, because there's like no other reason to use Murkrow, I would think. So my opponent's gonna go for the Protect to bait in my move. I'm assuming I'm gonna go for the Return, no reason not to. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Return can knock this thing out, but I know Z Mirror Move is coming and it's probably gonna knock me out. So I'm gonna pull a Heart Switch into Savali Fairy, predicting my opponent to want to go for Z Mirror Move. And I'm gonna take a little bit of Rocks damage, that's fine. My opponent's going to get cloaked up in the Z or with the Murkrow, and I'm like, oh, this is a little scary, but thankfully I was able to avert the Z Mirror Move Murkrow because I have faced it before, so it can't get me twice. Z Mirror Move is going to fail. However, the Murkrow still has +2 attack, and my opponent has Fly instead of Braver. I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Something's definitely up for my opponent's team. And then I noticed my opponent had a Meowstic and a Smeargle on his team. This is where I figured it out. I'm like, this guy saw Pokegame's video and got inspired. So I already knew what was coming after I noticed like the Murkrow had Fly. That's when it like clicked in my head that my opponent has an assist theme team. And this is where it clicked in my head. I'm just saying it now because before this I didn't realize it in the battle, but now I understood. Now my opponent's gonna bring a Meme Painter here, the Smeargle, and I know this thing likely has Geomancy because my opponent likely saw Pokemon's video, and he ran an assist Meowstic with like a Geomancy Smeargle, and the rest of the Pokemon on the guy's team had moves that could not be assisted, which was a pretty cool idea. My opponent has counter on the Smeargle and is going to destroy me with the counter. I'm like, okay, that's whatever. Down goes my Sub-Volley to counter. I wasn't expecting counter, but I guess I should have known better. I'm gonna bring in Poipole here because I pretty much get a free kill. I know my opponent doesn't have Spore because I know you can assist Spore because I wanted to run a Spore. I wanted to run Spore on my Smeargle, but unfortunately I would assist it if I were to use it, and then I break Sleep Claws, and that's just not fun.
What did you
I don't
say?
like breaking Sleep Claws. Okay, so I figured maybe as well not give, the assist theme team I made, Spore. So in comes Meowstic, and I know my opponent is going to go for the assist and get Geomancy, right? So my Poipole is actually a Z-Snatch Poipole. So I thought my opponent is not going to see this coming. I'm about to make the play of the month right now. I'm going to get cloaked in the Z ore with my Poipole, and we're going to go for a Z-Snatch, which does give you +2 speed, and we're going to activate the Snatch, and my opponent's going to go for the assist like I expected. And is my opponent going to draw a Geomancy? As he is, he's going to go for the Geomancy. I'm like, perfect. This is perfect. I'm going to Z-Snatch away that Geomancy. He's going to get the Power Herb, and I'm going to snatch that shit away. Wait. I didn't snatch the Geomancy? Oh.
Overkill.
Going to overkill me with stored powers. Down goes my Poipole, and I'm like, wow, this battle took a turn for the worse. Even though I knew it was coming, I just thought you could snatch away a Geomancy, but you cannot. And I'm pretty much forced to just spam priority moves here with Perugly. Faygo does very little damage, surprisingly enough. Meowstic's pretty frail, so this guy must be running like a defensive spread. And now I need to preserve Perugly, otherwise like this Meowstic's just going to automatically win. So I decided to sack off my Claydol here, my Sightstone to the stored power, as my opponent reveals to be Barrier as well. So I'm like, oh my god, this game is absolutely over. Like, I cannot beat this Meowstic. So it's pretty cool to see the meme, Power of Memes, as the Meowstic's name, come through against me, because I'm normally the one using the Power of Memes, but this time my opponent has the Power of Memes, and I can't contest it. I'm gonna go for Earth Power, do a decent chunk of damage, and I'm like, okay, as long as I'm able to weaken it a little more, maybe this thing won't beat me. And then he only has 2 mons left, so maybe we can win against this guy, though it's gonna be difficult because I need my priority moves to knock out this Meowstic. So gonna bring in my Bloodshed here, my Honedge, and Shadow Sneak should be able to knock this thing out or bring him down pretty low. I could go for Gyro Ball, but I don't want to die to stored power, and I don't know if I can tank it or not. So I'm going to go for Shadow Sneak and not knock out the Meowstic, unfortunately, as my opponent's able to go for stored power, and it's going to do a buttload of damage. We're able to live at 8 health, thankfully, so I should have went for Gyro Ball there in that situation. But I'm going to go for Shadow Sneak yet again, and we should be able to knock out the Meowstic, but it's able to live at 1 hit point. Very unfortunate, and stored power is going to knock out my Honedge. So at least the Meowstic was knocked into the 1 HP range, but I remember in Pokegame's video, he ran rest on his Meowstic, so I'm surprised my opponent didn't pull out the rest, but I guess he just forgot about it, or maybe he's not running rest. I don't know, because I noticed that like after I did this battle, I noticed I didn't copy the Pokemon team exactly from what he did it. He put like a Drampa on there and like a Murkrow instead of some other Pokemon, but like the generic idea of the team was copied. And Pokemon didn't make that team either. It was one of his
nice voice crack. I'm gonna remind him by leaving a comment.
One of his fans, I'll have to give him props for that team idea because it was really creative. I even left a comment on the video saying like, I would have never thought to use assist like that. Trying to assist a Geomancy from Smeargle, and I love stored power, so it's kind of funny how I didn't really think of that, but it just shows that like a lot of people are creative, and it's just the power of creativity can come through. My opponent has Nature Power, which turns into a Tri-Attack, and with a normal gem, he's able to hit me with a Tri-Attack and just overkill my my Pito. So down goes Perugly, unfortunately, and we're gonna lose the battle to the Drampa. So that was a very lovely battle. I lost to the Power of Memes. I'm not even mad. I just thought maybe I could Z-Snatch that Geomancy. If I just went for Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave, I would have been in a such better position, but unfortunately, I made a misplay trying to work around that Geomancy. But don't worry, guys. Shanique will be bringing you another battle against Megan, the interesting person. I highly doubt this character is made off of Megan, but just the fact that she has black hair and her name is Megan is interesting. However, her team, I'm having fun. So this is what I like to call the no fun zone. So this is going to be a quite difficult battle for me to win. My opponent's team is very stacked, and I don't really see myself being able to break that Palisand very easily because I don't really have any water or grass type moves or strong dark type or ghost type moves, so yeah, this Palisand is going to be a problem. So I lead off with my Pito, my Perugly, expecting the Palisand to lead off because, like I said, I really have nothing for it. And I'm expecting Kangaskhan to also lead off, so I want to beat it in the Fake Out War. Thankfully, we're able to taunt and prevent Stealth Roxas. Funnily enough, most of my cat Pokemon have taunt. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a weird coincidence, and their move pools are kind of shallow, so I just give them taunt because I like taunt. So I'm going to go for the knockoff to scout out his item. She's actually not Color Berry. Most Palisands nowadays are Color Berry, so I wanted to burn that off instantly or immediately, but thankfully we're able to knock off those leftovers, so it's going to help me deal with this Palisand, and we're able to weaken it to around half health, so I'm not complaining. Now I'm going to bring Claydol here to pivot into Earth Power. This is literally my only ground immunity on my team, and if my opponent has Toxic or Shadow Ball, I don't think I can beat this up Palisand 1v1, but thankfully I am not a Stealth Rock Claydol. I'm actually a Calm Mind Claydol, an offensive Claydol, because you don't really see a like offensive Claydol at all. You see it like offensive moves and like EV spreads, but like Calm Mind, I don't think I've seen a Calm Mind Claydol like ever, to be honest with you. So for good reasons, because it's quite underwhelming and outclassed by many other psychic types, but it definitely catches people off guard, and Claydol's typing is okay, and you know, it has a lot of weaknesses, but obviously if it has a lot of weaknesses, it's pretty good for me. Now I'm gonna go for a Rock Polish with my Claydol because I want to boost up my speed and my special attack, and I have a lot of like defensive investments so I can live most, you know, super effective attacks that aren't like, you know, stabs. So I'm gonna go for a Calm Mind here. Now I'm at +2 special attack and special defense, as my opponent's gonna go straight for U-turn just to get some offensive momentum and chip damage me. We're able to live
and activate our weakness policy.
So now my Claydol's at +4 special attack, +2 speed, and +2 speed def. So looking like a massive threat right now. However, here's where the no fun zone comes in. In comes the Kangaskhan, and the barrage of priority moves are what's incoming. Now I know I have a Perugly, which pretty much does the same thing, but Kangaskhan is a little more annoying because it can hit ghost types, and it has like Sucker Punch as well. I know, actually, I think Perugly also has Sucker Punch, so I guess there's like no excuses. I'm pretty much using the same Pokemon, but just much inferior to Kangaskhan, but whatever. I'm gonna go for another Calm Mind because now I'm forced to try and win the Sucker Punch 50-50s because, God, these are the most stressful predictions ever, because if your opponent just wants to like be a man and click Double Edge or something, they can do that, but they're just little pussies and always click Sucker Punch like the first 5 or 6 times, and then they try to switch it up, but one day someone's just gonna go for Double Edge against me, for predicting me to predict the Sucker Punch, and I'm just gonna get destroyed. But I mean, the day hasn't come yet, surprisingly enough. It's just usually because I lose a 50-50, but here my opponent realizes that risking the 50-50 isn't worth it, and so my opponent makes a very smart play that's like, you know, as low risk as possible, because bringing in Mesprit, I don't know how my opponent knows this, but somehow my opponent knows I don't have Shadow Ball to hit this thing and OHKO him, so my opponent's able to live the Psy Shock because I'm only at +4, or actually I think I'm at +6 or +5, but unfortunately I cannot knock out the Mesprit as U-turn's able to knock me out. So despite the fact I had all that set up, it doesn't really matter, because if U-turn didn't knock me out, they could have just brought in Kangaskhan and faked me out, so I really had no way to really pop off with the Claydol in this battle. So now I'm at a pretty big disadvantage because now my ground immunity doesn't exist, and so Palisand could just come in here and Earth Power me to death, but thanks to, you know, Savali, I have the Toxic, able to poison this Palisand, so eventually it will go down. It's just going to take a lot of effort with Toxic, and it's not unkillable, it's just really hard to deal with. So my opponent's going to go for the Stealth Rocks to pressure around my team. Very solid play, and my Savali doesn't even have Defog. I actually gave it Toxic over Defog just for this battle, or these, you know, battles, because I had Spikes and Stealth Rocks on my favorite seed, and I figure why would I run Defog if I'm running Dual Hazard? So yeah, my opponent's going to get Parting Shotted because I need to switch into this Earth Power. I want to keep Savali healthy enough so I can keep Parting Shotting and Toxic more stuff if needed, because at this point this battle is looking pretty hard for me to win so early on. That's never a good sign in a battle. If the battle feels really hard to win within the first few turns, it's just like not a good feeling. So Earth Power thankfully isn't going to do anything because of Parting Shot and Fairy Seed Deviolate. My opponent's going to switch out of the Palisand and bring in the Mesprit here, and I'm kind of fearful of Trick or Hidden Power Fire, but I don't think Mesprit can really touch me, thankfully. I'm gonna go for the Stealth Rocks, and here I could just go for Hazard Stack because I have no reason not to. But here my opponent is going to reveal the Healing Wish, and unfortunately with Healing Wish's powers, I'm going to be put in an even worse situation. At least Mesprit's dead, so I don't have to worry about that thing coming out late game. But the unfortunate part is that the Toxic I just put on the Palisand with Savali is going to get cured, and I have to somehow bring in Savali again, have my opponent let me poison the Palisand, and then I can deal with it. So I don't think my opponent's going to let me go for Toxic against Palisand now, so it's going to be pretty difficult for me to deal with this monster. So I'm going to have to think of a plan to work around this thing, or this, loss is inevitable. So going to bring in my Savali here. I really have no other switch into Earth Power, as my opponent's going to go for Earth Power, no reason not to. Like I said, I have no ground immunity, so that's all my opponent's going to be clicking. Earth Power does do like 30 to 35%, and now I'm going to go for, I believe I'll go for Toxic, though maybe I predict my opponent to switch out. And comes the Skuntank. I do believe I predicted this to switch in actually, so I do believe I go for the multi-attack. Yeah, I do, because I don't make bad plays. Okay, yeah, I do, but that was a little obvious. So I go for multi-attack. We're able to weaken Skuntank a bit, and now I can just go for another multi-attack. I'm pretty sure knock him out. But my opponent, thankfully, doesn't decide to go for Poison Jab. She decides to go for Defog because, fair enough, I do have a layer of Spikes and Stealth Rocks up, and she wants to make sure that I cannot kill the Palisand, so I definitely understand why she did that. And now I'm going to go for a multi-attack. Thankfully, she also removed her own entry hazard, so I don't have to worry about Stealth Rocks until Palisand reapplies them. So the Palisand's going to be forced to come back in to reapply the Stealth Rock, so I'll take that. We're able to knock out Skuntank with multi-attack, and I'm able to deal with that monster. But now in comes the Kangaskhan, and this mon is a huge threat to my team. I'm actually going to predict my opponent to predict my switch into Fairy Seed and either double switch or go for a fighting type attack, so I stay in, making a very aggressive play. But to be fair, like, I was just sacking off the Silvally, to be honest with you. But I just went for Parting Shot just in case my opponent went for the over prediction. So thankfully, we're able to get the prediction correctly, and now I'm able to go for the Parting Shot, get some offensive momentum, bring in the Pointy Nug, my Fairy Seed, and from here I can just go for more entry hazards. I know I can tank Hammer Arms after the Parting Shot, but the Violate, so Hammer Arm isn't going to do all that much damage to me, as now, since the Skuntank is dead, the only way I'm going to be able to, chip down at this Palisand is if I stack hazards. So instead of going for Stealth Rocks, I'm just going to go for Spikes, because Stealth Rocks don't really help me, because Palisand is resisted to rocks, so it's going to take like 6%, as opposed to Spikes, which is 12%, so I think, is it 12%? For one spike? I don't remember, actually. I don't really use spikes all that often, so I don't remember how much damage you take if you get 3 layers of spikes up. But I'm just going to keep going for spikes, even if I lose my Fairy Seed. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate if I lose it, because Kangaskhan's going to destroy me, but, like, I may as well get up these hazards while I can, because I need them to help break through the Palisand. That was all I was thinking about in this battle, was getting rid of that Palisand, because that Palisand, WeedleTwineedle is flawless constructing of teams, just, makes me rather weak to certain Pokemon, such as Palisand, or everything on my opponent's team. So now I'm going to bring in Perugly here. I know I outspeed him thanks to Fake Out, and I'm expecting my opponent to want to switch out and fear the Fake Out, so I double switch into Silvally, predicting the Palisand to come in, as my opponent is going to switch out into the Palisand, so we're able to get that play correctly, and now my opponent's going to take some Spikes damage, and I mean, she can switch out to avoid the Toxic and take more Spikes damage, or she can stay in here. So I've tried to put myself in a position where I can poison this Palisand, as thankfully my opponent decides to give me the Toxic. Thankfully she didn't switch out, because I was very afraid she was going to do that, but thankfully she let me get the Toxic. I don't know if that was like out of pity, or just because like she just expected me to predict her to switch out again, but she's able to knock out my Silvally with the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, I don't know why she went for Shadow Ball in that situation, but whatever. Now I'm going to bring in my Pito again, and the reason why I'm doing this is so I can taunt this thing, and so I can't go for Shore Up, because I do not want this thing recovering. This thing is such a big threat to my team, and I want it dead. So I'm going to go for the taunt, as thankfully my opponent chooses to go for the Shore Up, just playing it safe, because like I said, she realizes that this Palisand automatically wins their game. So here I'm going to go for a knockoff as some just last ditch damage, sacking off Perugly's life, because I just need to get rid of this Palisand. I really need to, but even if I do, like, this thing's already like taking down my entire team, so it's looking pretty hard for me to win this battle. But at the very least, we're able to double down with this Palisand this turn, as thankfully Palisand's going to go down to the poison, so this massive threat to my team is now dead. Down goes Palisand, as now I'm going to bring in the Bloodshed here, my Honedge, legit shiny Honedge by the way, as my opponent's going to bring in the Kangaskhan, and I'm like, oh, I should be able to wall this thing, no problem, but then I remembered the Kangaskhan has Scrappy, and it just revealed Hammer Arm, so I'm like, holy moly, I'm going to take super effective damage from this Hammer Arm. Not good, but I believe my shiny Honedge should be able to face tank this, because he Violate makes it pretty bulky, as we're able to tank it, decently well, as thankfully my opponent lets the Kangaskhan stay in here, and we're able to knock him out with the Sacred Sword, so I don't have to worry about Fake Out pressure for Poipole. But at this point, it's looking pretty hard for me to win, because my opponent has Lantern and Lilligant left, and those Pokemon could just solo my team at this point, and all I have left is Honedge. and Poipole. So I'm gonna go for Shadow Sneak here just for some last ditch damage, thinking that Thunderbolt's just gonna knock me out. My opponent goes for Volt Switch, predicting me to switch, I think, but Volt Switch just knocks me out anyway. So down goes Haunt Edge, unfortunately, as my opponent's gonna Volt Switch out. Unfortunately, my shiny Haunt Edge really couldn't do anything. I'll have to bring it back in another PU battle. I kind of played it pretty badly, to be fair, so that was my fault. But now I bring in Poipole, and I'm figuring this game is over, so I'm just gonna show my Z move for the fun of it because I just want to. Gonna go for my Z Snatch just because I want to showcase that I have Z Snatch, okay? No other reason. And yeah, I'm gonna go for Z Snatch, increase my speed by 2 stages, and go for Z Snatch. And I'm assuming my opponent's gonna go for like a normal Z move, knock me out, or Sleep Powder. But my opponent goes for Quiver Dance. Why? I literally went for Z Snatch on the off chance, she went for Quiver Dance, and just because like I thought the game was over, so I just go for Z Snatch, but I steal the Quiver Dance, and now the Lilligant's gonna go down. My opponent said it's because she has weakness policy on Lilligant, and she wanted to get the increased Bedef to live the poison type attack, so she can activate weakness policy against me. But that just choked her the game because now in comes Lantern. I'm at +3 special attack thanks to Beige to Boost and the Quiver Dance. Actually, I'm only at +2 special attack, my bad. For some reason, I'm thinking I stole the Geomancy from last battle, but unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. Down goes Lantern to Sludge Wave, as Poipole's able to pull the game out of his butthole, which I definitely should not have been able to. I should have definitely lost this battle 100%, and I'm pretty sure my opponent agrees with me because this battle was unwinnable in my opinion, so me being able to win was just a little bit of a fluke, that's for sure. But hopefully you guys enjoyed these Wi-Fi battles. I got to showcase, or at least my opponent got to showcase the power of memes, and that last battle came down to the wire for sure. I should have definitely lost both of them, but hey, going 1 for 1, helps my ego out a little bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed these Wi-Fi battles. If you guys enjoyed the Wi-Fi battles and really want to support my channel, let me know by leaving a like on the video, as it's without a doubt the greatest way to show your support towards my channel, and I really do appreciate all the support you guys give me. It keeps me motivated to make these videos for you guys, and it's just always appreciated. I love you guys oh so very much, and I'm very thankful for you guys taking the time out of your day to watch my stuff. It's honestly so heartwarming. But anyways, we're going to move on to the question of the day, which is going to be, what is your favorite not fully evolved Pokemon to use in competitive battling? Let me know in the comments down below which not fully evolved Pokemon you've been enjoy using lately. English is what I'm good at, yes. Now, the not fully evolved Pokemon I've been using a bit lately is Combuskin, and I've been using it on Showdown because I've been playing a little bit of Showdown lately just to, hone my skills and make sure I'm not completely trash. And so, yeah, I've been using Combuskin with Fight EMZ, and it's actually like really, really good, and it's a really good late game cleaner. It has a nice like one-time nuke with a Focus Blast, and it just hits pretty damn hard as well. And I also like, weakness policy Combuskin. I've been messing around with that a little bit, but I will say that Fight EMZ with Speed Boost is a little bit better than my weakness policy Combuskin set, that's for sure. But yeah, I've been really enjoying using Combuskin. Another Pokemon I've also been using on Showdown that I really need to breed now is Eviolite Strength Sap Gloom. It's so good. It seems like, just be underwhelming and meh, but it's just so good. And I just think more people should use it. It's definitely underrated, and I think more people should give it a go because Eviolite Gloom is super bulky with Strength Sap, and it has a really low base HP, so it just gets so much health back with Strength Sap, and Eviolite really helps it out. So I don't know, I just think more people should use Gloom. I'm definitely going to be breeding one in the near future because that thing has been carrying me on Showdown, that's for sure. But I'm rambling at this point. Let me know in the comments down below which Pokemon or which not fully evolved Pokemon you guys have been using lately in your Pokemon battles. But that's going to be the question of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end of the video. I'll check you guys next time. Bye.